Well, hello and welcome to the bedroom of the dollhouse for another reading from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elfers for October 4th, the day of the Incorrigibles. And here at the top of the page is a visual representation of the day of the Incorrigibles. We have us. Oh, it's an etching of a bird on a bough that's attached to a gilded cage. Well, I'm assuming it's gilded because nothing but gilded gold for you, right? October 4th, the day of the Incorrigibles. I don't know if that necessarily speaks to your day, but maybe we can make some connotations as the reading gets on. But not necessarily important altogether. What is important is it's October 4th and it's someone's birthday today. That's right. So if it's your birthday today, I just want to say happy birthday. That's right. And if this video finds you late, I don't know, a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, well, hope you had a happy birthday. That's right. But for everyone else who's joining us randomly or more ideally to celebrate the October 4th birthday, I just want to say hello, welcome, and hope you enjoy yourself. Now, before we dive in with the redirect, let's roll some dice. This is the DykASSt ASStro birthday broadcast, so we like to live up to the namesake around these here parts by rolling some dice. But more importantly, we do it. Oh, that didn't sound very good, did it? There it is. For synchronicity's sake. You got to get that good sound out of the ivories there. It's a 4 and a 3 for a 7. That's right. So what synchronicity you might be wondering? Well, it's just you getting out in the world and letting the universe show you it's with you on your path. And you do that by looking for these numbers. Now, you can roll your own dice if you like. Just the intentions here. But it's preferable you probably get your own dice set if you get out there in the world doing one of these things. Because you want to get a directional value going for yourself. So you ascribe some number sets to certain directions. And you also want to roll some minutes to figure out how long to go in those directions. But let's say you start in a town square. You roll yourself whatever value for west, and you roll like 10 minutes there. And then once you get to the end of that 10 minutes, well, you stop and you look and you wait for a sign. Maybe you see the number 7 bus pull up. Well, that's your number, right? Get on that bus. That's right. I know you probably don't like to ride the bus if you've ever even done such a thing. But hey, maybe you got perfect change in your pocket for the ride. How about that? And then when you get off, let's say number 4 stop there. That's one of them numbers. You get off, and what do you find? You're at an aviary. How about that? I think that's the thing where they put all the birds. That's right. But maybe there's no cages because they're out on the boughs, and it's really a farm. I don't know what to say. Irony. I think we're going to get a little bit of irony here today. Any event, that's been synchronicity, best I know it. Just keep your eyes out for the universal signals there, and you might just feel some magic. You're gonna start seeing these numbers pop up, maybe in really subtle ways, and it doesn't feel like magic. Let me tell you something. It doesn't sound like magic anyway. It's gonna feel like magic. I'm telling you. Any event, hey, at least you get your steps in if you get out and do that, at the very least. But I think you get the idea of what synchronicity is. I'll stop droning on about it. All right, let's get into it. Your month is October, your day the 4th, your sign is 10 to 12 degrees Libra, and the Libra II period specifically, and your quality and element is Cardinal air. October 4th, the day of the Incorrigibles. Unlike most people, those born on October 4 simply live their lives and behave the way they wish to. And though they often present an agreeable and charming persona, they have an inner toughness that is the product of negotiating a less than perfect world. It is from this realistic and survival-minded core that they derive their ironic perspective, keen observations, and a sharp sense of humor. October 4 people like things to go smoothly, but there is no doubt that they wish things to flow smoothly in the direction they themselves choose. And they are able to exert their authority in a subtle fashion so that they can be the boss without appearing so. As a matter of fact, this is a quite deceptive quality, that those born on this day can appear very relaxed and accepting people a good deal of the time, yet all the while are unyielding where their authority is concerned. Nonetheless, others find relaxed October 4 charm, pleasant and soothing. October 4 people have a unique, if not eccentric, view of the world, and yet when they share their ideas with others, they are more often than not accepted, appreciated, and even loved for their idiosyncrasies. And perhaps this is because they themselves enjoy people and partake freely of everything society has to offer. And in this sense, they are deeply human people and have a strong bond with their fellow men and women. Rarely will they be snobbish, even if they move in high circles or breathe in that rarefied air of success. But danger also holds great attraction for October 4 people. They do not look on it, however, as many see it, and that is life-threatening and negative. To them, dangerous situations are more often than not made dangerous through carelessness. Of course, risks are involved, but for the most part, whether it is climbing mountains, scuba diving, or hang gliding, October 4 people simply take the necessary training and the precautions and go for it, usually with good results. October 4 people pride themselves on their families, and even if they do not have children themselves, they are usually someone's favorite aunt or uncle, a devoted husband or wife. And they are very socially adept. And this does not mean, however, that they dislike being alone, as long as the isolation is self-imposed. And to prove this point, those born on this day display marked concentrative powers in doing solo work. One difficulty many October 4 people have is that they are not ambitious enough and like having things pleasurable, comfortable, and easy. And indeed, they have good taste and love to surround themselves with beautiful things. And if they lack the necessary tension to forge ahead in the world, they may need a stimulus to inspire greater effort. Perhaps personal handicaps, obstacles, rejection in the workplace, or a tyrannical authority figure can all serve to bring out their fighting instincts. All right. How about that for a birthday breakdown? I like this one. I really did. So let's see what I had to say about the breakdown. Provide a little commentary of sorts. October 4, the day of the Incorrigibles. You're described as living your life, behaving the way you wish to. And unlike most people, apparently, possessing an inner toughness built by dealing with what the reading describes as a less than perfect world. Or what I'm guessing is the pushback you probably often get behaving the way you wish in expectation of things actually going your way, but not having that happen. All right. But that said, you present an agreeable and charming affect and are said to possess an ironic perspective and a keen sense of humor. So at least you're aware of the whole wanting something and going out into the world after it and not necessarily getting it dynamic. You're said to be unyielding in your authority, and you're also said to have eccentric views people appreciate and love you for. Perhaps it's this strong bond with other people, enjoyment of what life has to offer, and not being snobbish, even in a position of high success, that people can just read or recognize that air about you, right? Almost as if it's a palpable thing. Perhaps that's what it is. In any event, but I love this, that you're attracted to danger aspect, but it's a measured approach to the danger, in so much as you prepare yourself for it and do the proper necessary precautions for it. And I love that because as pragmatic as it sounds, it's not altogether all that obvious either. So in that way, it speaks to your ironic perspective. And of course, one trains and prepares for any dangerous activity, you would think, but that's not necessarily true. Tell that to all the other people mentioned in this book who are attracted to danger, but this whole preparation facet isn't present. It's not mentioned. It might be there, but like I said, it's not mentioned. So there's a little bit of a disconnected element there. So I'd say this is the first time that I can recall that they have noted you're someone who takes the proper precautions. What else do I have to say here? But there's also this element of liking things easy and potentially needing an antagonist to spur you to action. And I found that interesting, and that it wasn't something I was expecting. I assumed you were a driver, a go-getter. But you know, sometimes people need a little bit extra fuel in the tank, right, to get them to get to extra gear. Who's to say? I was just surprised by it, so I thought I'd mention it. But I like that too. I like being surprised by the readings. So that's been your birthday breakdown. Let's dive in with your numbers and your planets. Let's keep going here. Those born on the 4th day of the month are ruled by the number 4 and by the planet Uranus. And people ruled by the number 4 have their own, often peculiar way of doing things. And Uranus indicates sudden changeability and unpredictable action, traits that can be magnified in an October 4 personality. And generally, those ruled by the number 4 are not overly concerned with money. And this holds true for October 4 people who focus more on ideas and principles. And a nervous quality and an emphasis on sex is pronounced in them due to their Uranus-Venus influences. Venus being the ruler of Libra, if you didn't know. All right, hey, that's been your numbers and your planets. What I have to say here. The planet Uranus for changeability and unpredictability. All right. This is a highly personalized numbers of planets in my mind. Uranus is usually explosive and erratic or argumentative, and they move the goalpost here for you a little bit. And it's been some days since Uranus rulership, and I knew I felt a little bit of a kinship as I was reading this. I just didn't realize it was the 4th day of the month. I don't know. It's just not apparent to me, even though I read the number 4. But it's as though they move the goalpost for you here a bit, like I said. And the Venus emphasis on a sex quality is highly specific here, and that's a new one. I don't remember reading that in the numbers and the planets, so maybe that's something quite specific to you. Who's to say? But interesting nonetheless. Like I said, they personalized it here for you, so maybe take note. All right, hey, that's been your numbers and planets. Let's dive in with your tarot. I know it's one of the more eclectic of the New Age metaphysical ideologies or philosophies, if you like, but it's here in the book. It's fun to expand our horizons, and it's not like we got to take it home with us and start doling out cards and predicting our future or anything. So let's see what it has to say. All right, the tarot. The 4th card of the major arcana is the Emperor, who rules over worldly things through wisdom, the primary source of his power. The Emperor is stable and wise, and the force of his authority cannot be questioned. The positive associations of this card are strong will and steadfast energy, whereas the negative aspects include stubbornness, tyranny, and even brutality. All right. That's been the tarot. A little bit of a copy-paste job here. When I say a little bit, I mean that's exactly what it is. Not even a little bit. So let's see if I can pick up a little bit of the slack here, not be too redundant, though I often am. All right. The Emperor rules worldly things through wisdom, and I'd say the breakdown, if it applies, endorses that idea. All right. Wisdom and unquestioning authority. All right. That comes with strong willpower, steadfast energy, but also particularly negative aspects. So don't cross you, right? That's what I took from it. You prepare for stuff. A danger specifically, that's right. And you rise to action against antagonists. That's right, you're just looking for someone to fuel that fire. So don't question your authority. That's what I'm taking from it. All right, that's been your tarot. Let's move on to your health. All right, your health. Those born on October 4, despite the care they take, are subject to accidental injuries of all kinds. And this is particularly true because of their tendency to put themselves in dangerous situations. Prepare all you like, it sounds like. They must beware of falls, blows, or accidental strains of the back and internal organs. Particularly, it says. Sex is usually a delicate matter for October 4 people, and they can be thrown out of balance quite easily in this respect, and thus upsetting their emotional state and possibly affecting their health. And finally, the October 4 need to enjoy life fully, too, it says, and often includes tobacco, coffee, and or alcohol. And these should be brought under control or severely limited, if possible. All right. What I had to say about your health. Let's get into it. Despite the measured danger, right, you still encounter accidents. And so be careful of your internal organs, it says. And that's a warning to all Libras, it seems like. How you do that, how you protect your internal organs, I'm not quite sure. Don't ask me. Just maybe pad up, I suppose, with ace bandages and stuff, maybe. I don't know. But the sex being a delicate matter, that's interesting. And it's a new one, I believe. This is more attention than they normally ascribe to that. Sure, it was sparse. It was just a single sentence, but a lot of times they just mention it with a word or two. You got a whole sentence about it, so perhaps be mindful. And what's interesting is I think, sex and the relationships that come with it, they affect everybody on a really emotional level. And if they're mentioning it here in this book for you, there must be something to be knowful of. So, again, just be mindful. What else did they say here? A final note, they brought up vices, all right? And that's probably something you would think they do all the time. Well, not often, but they do it. They've been doing it for every Libra reading. Nicotine, coffee, sugar a lot of times, any kind of stimulants, it seems like. And I don't know why necessarily, but again, maybe be mindful. Also, a Libra through line, it says. But at least they're consistent about it, all right? In any event, that's been your health, so let's dive in with some advice. All right. Beware of becoming self-satisfied. Ooh. Set yourself goals and a timetable to reach them, and attend to spiritual matters, and use your time alone to improve yourself. Don't get stuck. All right. Hey, real quick advice on this one. It didn't even take up a full 2 lines. Usually it's 3.5. But hey, I don't know that they cut you short, though. I think there's some value in there on that. But I'm going to pick up the slack on this one for sure. I wrote in the book about a paragraph. Let's see what I got here. Beware self-satisfaction. And I'm assuming that this is a big ego warning. Who's to say? But even if it isn't, that's still something to avoid, I would argue. Getting a big ego. You're eclectic and eccentric, and you bring this interesting thing to life. But just don't let that get a hold of you, all right? Bring yourself down. Be humble about it. Be modest, I say. And I'm a number 4 too, so maybe you can, I don't know, maybe you can jive with that a little bit. Hey, it says goals in a timetable. And passing mention of not being ambitious might be what they're trying to allude to here. And it might be more impactful, however, if they drill down more on it. Why? Or, what kind of effects that has. But, lack of ambition is what it is, I guess they thought. And it kind of is, I suppose. All right, so moving on. Explore and tend to some spiritual matters, all right? Just good practice, in my mind, regardless of why they mentioned it. They didn't really say much about spirituality in there. Any event, moving on. What else we got here? Improve and don't get stuck. Easy stuff is fine, but challenge yourself too, I say, all right? It's appropriate to like life and exciting things. So yeah, that's right. Challenge yourself and make sure you keep preparing for all that danger you like to get yourself into. That's right. So there's your advice. I think that's the most I've written for it, point by point. All right, so we've got on with the advice. Let's take the energy down just a hair. Move on to your meditation. All right. Are you ready? Can you feel the earth turn? Can you hear the stars sing? That's it. 2 questions. All right, let's do them again here. Maybe with a better delivery. Can you feel the earth turn? Can you hear the stars sing? All right. That's your meditation. It's your birthday. I'm not going to try and break it down for you. That's for you to focus on. That's right. I'd probably throw some spin on it that wouldn't help you or would be at some conclusion you wouldn't have arrived at. That's right. So can you feel the earth turn? Can you hear the stars sing? All right, 2 questions. There you go. That's your meditation. Let's move on to your strengths and your weaknesses. All right, getting back into the high drama here. Here we go. Your strengths. You're tasteful. You're socially adept. And you're humorous. All right. And your weaknesses. That's right. That's one we've been dreading, isn't it? Even though we've only been thinking about it for about 20 seconds. Your weaknesses. You're complacent. You're headstrong. And you're foolhardy. Headstrong, foolhardy. I think those are a first. We've got complacent in that time or two. Don't be complacent, all right? All of those, I would say, can be fixed. That's right. But what's interesting is headstrong, foolhardy. That leads you to believe that you don't prepare for danger, and we know you do. That's right. So who's to say about them weaknesses? But I'd say that's something easily attended to. That's right. And even, hey, those have been your strengths and weaknesses. Let's move on to those born on this day. And with that, I'd like to explore something I find important. Not only seeing who shares your company, but what they did to put their stamp on the cultural zeitgeist, if you like. You see, I get out in the world and meet folks and ask them what they do, and more importantly, if they like it, and a lot of times they don't. And I would say the simple fact is they just haven't had the time to put in the work to figure out their passion, to figure out the thing that gets them back flipping out of bed in the morning to get after. And you know what? Who can blame them? There's just not a lot of time to do that in this day and age. You get out of school, you got to pay them student loans. So that means you got to get right into a job. For that financial security, a lot of times it's not secure enough. And then on the weekends when you do have time, well, what are you doing? You're changing the bed sheets and cleaning out the diapers and all that other happiness. So just never enough time to figure out your passion. And so I figured this is the perfect opportunity to perhaps take some inspiration from folks who ostensibly followed theirs and found some success with it. Now, who's to say it might not have been their passion at all, but hey, let's assume that it was, and maybe you can take some inspiration. All right, born on this day, we start off with Buster Keaton, the silent film actor, director, stuntman of Sherlock Jr. and The General. And then we move on to Pancho Villa, a general in his own regard, all right? He was a Mexican bandit, general, and shot dead in his car after retirement. That happens sometimes. We have Susan Sarandon, the film actress, Charlton Heston, the film actor, Robert M. Wilson, the playwright, theater producer, designer, and responsible for Einstein on the Beach. We also have Jean-Francois Millet, a French traditionalist painter, Rutherford B. Hayes, the U.S. President and Civil War general, wounded several times. We have Juan March, a Spanish entrepreneur, a smuggler, and it says Franco supporter. We have Alvin Toffler, futurologist and responsible for Future Shock. Sir Terence Conran, British designer and founder of Design Museum in Royal Albert Hall, and Habitat and Conran retail chains. Boy, that was a mouthful. We have Lowell Nesbitt, a neo-realist painter, Steve Swallow, a jazz bassist and composer. We also have Kenichi Fukui, perhaps, a Japanese Nobel Prize-winning chemist. We also have Anne Rice, the novelist of The Vampire Lestat. Anita DeFranz, a lawyer and Olympic bronze medal-winning rower. We also have Buddy Roemer, Louisiana governor. We also have Elise Bialk, I'm probably saying that wrong, we'll rectify that, a children's author. Engelbert Dollfuss, Austrian statesman and assassinated by Nazi supporters. We have Malcolm Baldrige, a commerce secretary under Reagan. Giovanni Battista Piranesi, an Italian 18th century architect and engineer. Well, I say we had a lot of artists today. That's right. And I just noticed that the clock stopped. So, hey, take note. The clock stopped on your birthday. That's right. In any event, that's been those born on this day. And I hope you drew some inspiration from it. No, it's tough. Even reading and hearing about other people. So what, right? But hey, maybe you found some inspiration, some people to investigate, and you see who shares your company at the very least. Did you know that you shared a birthday with Pancho Villa or Buster Keaton? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. In any event, that about rounds out your birthday, except to say, your season is fall, your sign once again is Libra of the Libra II period specifically, and your quality and elements is Cardinal air. And this has been The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elfers for October 4th, the day of the Incorrigibles. I didn't really see any kind of bird connotations there, except that he was out of his cage, or her cage, and on a bough. So that freedom, that going out there into a dangerous world, your own way. Perhaps. I don't know. Maybe that's another meditation for you as well. I have an affiliate link for this book down in the description if you're looking to pick yourself up a copy, dive in further, or if you just need something to grace your coffee table in those times you got company. Let me tell you something. This thing is going to get the party started. Get that ice broken in a figurative or a literal sense, considering its girth. So consider picking yourself up a copy and giving these guys some support and supporting the channel while you do so. But that's not what's important here. What's important is it's your birthday today. So once again, I just want to say happy birthday. That's right. And for everyone else who joined us to celebrate the October 4th birthday, I want to say thanks for joining us, and I hope to see you for your birthday read. And lest we forget, finally, Your daily numbers, that's right, a 4 and a 3 for a 7. Get out there, see the magic, feel the magic, and let the universe show you it's with you on your path. That's right. All right, folks, once again, happy birthday, and take care of yourselves out there. Well, who am I telling? You already do, right? Even in the danger. All right, happy birthday.